Hey guys, Coach and Tom Savers here, going over the latest weight room tracking system. It's got quite a few features, so this video might be long. Just kind of hang in there if you're interested to make sure you see it, what all it can do. This first tab here is the directions, and I'm currently adding to this directions when I think about stuff and when coaches ask questions, I'll add to that. But the main part of this directions is this part in red. Don't ever right click to delete anything. Uh, and then you can read the rest. But this Google form or this form QR code here is important if when you want to do manual or entries on your phone or device. You can scan that QR code if you feel comfortable letting your players put in their own information when they do lifts. Players can scan that QR code, or you can send them a link. But everything you need in the directions tab is here. When you're ready to edit your form, super easy to create your form in just a few minutes. And then this is the link right here that you would send out in order for a player to do an entry. Let's say they did bench press today and they wanted to record it. They would select their name and type in what they did. So this is your directions page. Master tab. So this master list is where you create everything that's going to be doing all the work. Okay. Huge program, thousands and thousands of formulas. So when you make some changes, it does take a while for it to go through everything, but just be patient, especially if you have slow internet. But anyway, setting up your tab. So let's say right now I have these events over here in green. You don't type them in here. You do it all in your form, which I'll show you shortly. But they automatically, when you make changes on your form, they automatically update in here so that you don't have to update it in all these different places. It's done automatically. So this green section is count towards total weight and pound for pound strength. So these are the things I want to count towards: total weight and pound for pound strength. Speed stuff, no. And then body weight, I'm going to put no. I don't want that to count and give them points. Or actually, I want this to be no. I don't want how much they weigh, give them credit for total weight. It's just how much they weigh. If you're keeping up with body weight, this may not be one of your categories. It is one of ours. As far as ranking for points in a competition, I want all this stuff right here to rank. If you want a shortcut, you can grab that little cube. You can click on them individually, but once you click one, you can grab that little cube right there, and you can click it and drag down what all you want to count as yes. And then, of course, I don't want the body weight again to count, giving them points just because they weigh a lot or they weigh less. I don't want that to be counted. And then on your results tab, on the rankings tab that you'll see in a minute, do you want to hide any results? I don't want players' weights to show, especially if they're girls. They don't want their weight to be on a screen. So we're going to hide body weight, okay? In the yellow, do you want to reverse any rankings? And that just means is anything a better, like bench press, the more the better. But some things are not, like speed, for instance, 40 yard, the 40 yard, the slower is the better. I mean, the faster is the better. So we're going to reverse rank that. L drills time, we'll reverse rank that. And then locking results, if you want to, in the rankings tab, if you want to lock the results, like I'll hit yes real quick. And if I click over here to our rankings, then all this green bar right here depends on how fast your internet is. It's going through it. Everything's now locked. Okay, my internet's not super fast here, so I sometimes have to wait up to a minute for things to do it. But if I choose no, I don't want everything to be locked, then it's going to run through that 3 or 4 times. Again, thousands of formulas. So once it runs through it, then it's going to start showing the rankings. So back to our master list. Teams. If you're going to be competing within your team to create teams for like competitive reasons, then you can create some teams. And so I've created 4 teams, and like this for us, this is like over the summertime. We're going to have a draft before we get out of school, and I'll have my players. We'll have like 7 or 8 guys that are going to be team captains, and we'll start going through a ranking. We'll tell them what categories we're going to be judging on. For instance, bench press, squat, max, power clean, the 40-yard speed, the 40-yard dash, and the L drill, along with a couple others during the summertime. But they'll have an idea what they're going to be judged on, so they can start choosing their team wisely. And so each team might consist of, 10 players, 8 players, 15 players. It depends on how big a roster you have. And then right here, you can tell how many scores to count. So if we're having a team event, And we have 10 players on a team. I only want to count the 4 highest. So if one of the categories is bench press, it'll only count the 4 best bench press of each category on that team. That's if you want to run a team competition. It's great for competition. Our guys love breaking up into teams and competing throughout the school year or over the summertime. So great opportunity there to create more competitiveness. If you don't want the teams, then you can simply click on Q, right click, and then click on hide row. Never delete anything, but hide the row. And if you decide later on that you do want to do a team event, some competition, then you can click those little black arrows that are out there and unhide that, and they'll show back up. So if I click on that, you'd see that those are the teams that I've typed in earlier. So if I come down here and add another team, let's just say Batman. And if I do that, then now Batman is an option right here. So on the master list, once you've done all your criteria here, on the master list, the only part you type under is these green parts. It's the only place you'll make any entries, with an exception of this purple one. You can create one more option of filterable by typing in your own, something that you want to arrange by. For me, we put in periods because we have workout periods, and we want to separate our kids by periods for the weight room. So if you only have one period of weight room, then you may not want to deal with the periods. Player types, you get to create 2 player types as far as creating rankings. So for us, it's all boys, so we just do it based on skill and lineman. If you're a weight room coach and you have boys and girls, you might want to change those categories to boys and girls. And whatever you type in these 2 light blue boxes will show up on this drop down box and here for you to choose from. Grades, and then of course their weight, names. The only thing you have to have is the names. That's it. Unless you're doing a pound for pound strength, then you'd have to have a body weight too, or you can't get a pound for pound strength. But anyway, you're only typing in the green sections. Over here in the yellow section, you won't type anything here. Everything here is automatically generated based on your entries from the weight room, either via form or if you're doing it manually, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes. Again, we're just doing an overview. This chart finds the most recent entry that has been made. So for Clem, his most recent bench press is 205. His most recent squat is 335. His most recent power clean is 205. And we have not done any times yet, so there's no times in here. Again, this is just a fake list, a fake system. Some of these may even be girl names because I just copied a random list of names. So that is the overview of the master tab or the master list. Basically, you only type in the green section and you only fill out this chart over here. You do not fill out anything over here, okay? So let's go on to our ranking overview. Let's say I've already got some data in there. Let's go and do some rankings real quick. So this first tab, we like to show up on the TV in the weight room. The guys love seeing their name on the board and seeing where they're at. So right here, this is the rankings based on our skill players only, the ones that we marked skill in the master list right here. All these players right through here that have skill, that's just those guys. And so, and here's how the point system works. I've told it not to count. I actually have this hidden here, some of the categories that were in A, since I didn't want to see them, and I've hidden them. So I'm just going to leave them unhidden for this video the rest of the way out. So we've only done this thing so far, but here's how the point system works. It ranks each player based on the bench press. So this Stone guy is the highest bench press of my skill guys, and it works its way down with any ties. Like number 6 here has a tie at 150. And then here's the best squat guys, and then here's the best power clean guys. So you can see right here that since Stone is kind of at the top of the list, he's probably one of my best guys. So here's how the point system works. In the bench press, there's 9 guys that have entered a bench press so far. So that means this bench press now is worth 9 points. So the top guy gets 9 points, second guy gets 8, 7, 6, and so forth. And if there's a tie, then it does the points accordingly. And so over here at the very far right, here's your pound for pound strength. So at the very far right, it tabulates all those points across the board, letting us know that Stone is the top guy with 35 points. Carl is the second guy with 33 points, and works its way down. These 0 points just means they've not done anything. Okay, they've not done anything. So there's your ranking system based on skill guys. I could change that to lineman. I could change that to overall. So if I change that to overall, it'll run through this little green box probably 2 or 3 times before I actually go with it. And it's not popping up again, so I think that's it. It's had time to run through everything. So here's your top guys overall. This guy 255, and then just works the way across. Now, since this category overall looks like 56 guys in this bench press, then this top person's worth 56 points, and so forth. Squat only looks like 50 people in it, so this top person's worth 50 points, and then so on. Okay, so when you come across here, and the pound for pound strength is also worth points. So this top person right here is getting 56 points. Okay, and then it finds all their points, tabs them up. So this person right here is in the lead, the 12th grader on Team Thor with 202 points. So every time you change categories, the point system do change. So if Stone had a while ago 100 points or whatever he had as a skill guy, now he has more points because he's being compared to more players. Okay. And then across the bottom here with the ranking overview, there's different ways to rank things. So if you can do by grades if you wanted to, just to have more winners. So I'm going to change this to overall, and then it's already put on 9th grade. So it's going to run through here. Again, depends on your internet speed. Okay, don't know where I was at. I was interrupted with our tech guy coming into my classroom. So I'll pick up where I think I left off. All right, so you can rank by grades too. So here's my top 9th graders. And then if I want to see my top 12th graders, I can choose 12th grade. And then, of course, again, wait for that thing to run through 1 or 2 times. Looks like it's done it the first time. It wasn't quite as many. And so there's my top 12th graders. And then I can change that from overall to my 12th grade skill guys. So you got all these different options of ranking folks for motivation purposes. Okay, guys see numbers, they improve. Okay, you compete in the weight room, you're going to compete on the field. So we got to find a way to make these guys compete. You can do rankings by weight. So for instance, I've changed this. Let's do overall instead of boys. I don't have a boys category skill lineman and overall. So if I change this to overall, then this is ranking all my guys that weigh from 0 pounds to 150 pounds. So it usually takes longer to find this information when you're doing overall because it's doing everybody. So from 0 pounds to 150 pound guys, these are my guys. Okay. If I want to do my heavier guys or a different set, I could do from 151, let's say, to my 175 pound guys. So when I do that, it's going to run through a couple of times. This list is going to change. Let's see if it runs through. There may not be any guys. Apparently, I only have, there they are. Okay. Again, runs through 2 or 3 times. Thousands of formulas it's running through, and then it finds them. So here's my 151 to 175 pound guys. And then if you just want to, your bigger guys, and I could change this to, I just want to put a weight that we don't have, 500, and then 176 to 500. Okay. Just putting a ridiculous number up top I know we don't have, so it gets everybody. So I don't have to go look up and see who my heaviest guy is. I can just put a high number in there. Okay. So these are all my guys from 176 to 500 pounds. Here they are. Again, I could change that from overall to just my lineman, which is probably going to be your lineman anyway. I'll choose skill to see if I have any skill guys listed in that range. So I'm going to choose skill, and it doesn't look like I have any skill guys that are above 175. Okay, in reality we do, but this is a fake list. Okay, so there's a way to do it by rankings. Here's your team rankings. That if you did the team thing, here's your team rankings. So on the bench press, we had it picking. Let me go back and look at my master list. We had it picking the best 4 off each team. So on our team rankings, Team Thor wins with 905 pounds. So the best 4 guys totaled up to be 905 pounds. So that one out there is worth 4 points because there's 4 people on the list. Okay. And then squat, our best 4 people off Ironman is 1320. And so they would win 4 points for this category. And then they win 3, they win 2, they win 1 point, and so forth. And then, of course, we can fill in this speed stuff. Just not done that yet. Over here gives you a total team winner. Thor wins the whole competition with 13 points, and then Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, and then Batman, of course. We just added that team, and nobody's on Team Batman. So 0 points. That is the rankings overview. Our players love that. We project it on the TV screen, in the weight room, or in the field house, in a classroom, wherever. They love seeing their name on the board. Okay. Let's go over auto grouping for the weight room. Okay. So let me find that tab. You can scroll across the tab at the bottom, or you can hit this menu list, and then you can scroll through this. Don't hit the ones that's written in light gray, because those are backups or they have formulas in them, and you don't want to mess those up. So the easiest way is to scroll across the bottom, or you can use this menu if you prefer, and I'm going to go to the auto groups list. Okay. So here we are, auto groups. So I've adjusted my guys by the first 3 periods. So here's my period 1, based off their squat max. These are my top guys right here. Okay, I'm gonna have these guys working in groups of 3 or 4. So right here is where you can kind of make your groups, your groupings. I'll go over that real quickly. I made this specifically for one coach. He just, on certain periods, he has 4-man groups, and on another period, he has 3-man groups. So let's just say period 1, he does 4-man groups, so he would hide this one. And now they're listed in 4-man groups. Okay. If he wanted his 3-man groups, then he could open up his 3-man groups because it's written across 3 cells, and he would come up here and he would hide this one. So now these guys are written in 3-man groups. Okay. If you want to do your own group, then you could change one of these, or you could add another one to the left over here. And then you could, let's just say, copy rack number. Just giving you an idea. You can drag across how many you want to be in a group. So if there's 5 men in a group, so once you get those 5 cells, then hit this little button right here, the little merge cells button. And so now there's a 5-man group. You can put the number 1 in it. And then at that point, you should be able to take that box and just drag down to the bottom, I believe. Don't hold me to it. We'll see in just a second. Let go, and then there they are. 1, 2, and then of course you may want to put some boxes around it so they stand out more. So now I have 4-man groups, 3-man groups, 5-man groups. You can create whatever number of groups you want. Okay, I'm gonna go back and delete that out. So delete column. The only thing you'll ever delete is something that you created. Okay, don't ever delete anything that's already there. It might mess up something. So again, this is my auto groups based on squat max. Let's say I need some groups for bench press. So I can change this to my bench press max. And now it's going to change these groups. And now my bench press max is probably the same guys. If they're strong on one, they're probably strong on all. But now bench press is 250, 235, 225. So you can see that I could change this to make some groups based off our power clean. So we do that. So those, you just saw those numbers change. There's my groups. And let's just say we're doing 4-man groups. I'm going to hide this 3-man out of the way for now. So there's my 4-man groups. And so they're automatically done. And then you get to choose your percentages that you want to work off of. So let's just say that if you take these percentages out, there's no numbers. There's their max. But you want to work off, let's say, you can put it however you want to. Let's say we're going to work off, you want to work lowest to biggest. So we're going to start at 55%. Hit numbers only. Don't double click in there. Just click on the cell once, and then write the percentages that you are planning on working off of in your weight room. This is adjustable to you. So write a few more. Okay. So as you're doing that, it's going to get you the numbers that they're going to work with. It's going to round down to increments of 5 pounds, I believe, because it's not going to give you any kind of odd number you can't put on the bar unless you have a bunch of 2.5 pound weights or kind of weird weights that you can make whatever happen. I have this set to round down in increments of 5. We can adjust that for you if your weight room has the capabilities of doing like 2.5 or something like that. So there's your numbers. Again, this is based off first period. I could get my list for second period. It takes a second to find that. Well, I hit the wrong button. There it is. So second period. So now these names are about to change. Again, huge formula, a lot of formulas. It takes a second to run through there. Just give it time. If you at home, this goes by much faster for me at home. My home internet is much faster than my school internet, and I am making this video here at school in a period where I don't have students at the moment. So there goes my second period, and so now you can change that and print that out, or however you want to do it. Project it on the board. If you got a weight room, you got money, got 2 TVs. You can have groups on one board and rankings on another. You just choose whatever you want to do. That's up to you as a coach. But here's the capabilities of doing that. You have a manually assigned groups, so you can come in here if you want to do it based off bench press. Then you can come in here and you can manually choose off the whole list of players and create your own groups if you want to. Okay. For most coaches, this auto groups is the way to go. It's fast and done automatically. Let's see here. That's it for our auto groups. Let's go on to pod ideas. I don't create weight workouts. I don't create that. That's not what this is. But I do have in here for you that you can take a look at. I have a pod training. Give you some ideas. You can use this and type in whatever you want to in here. You can type in, like, let's say we're going to do hang cleans on day 1 in pod 1. We're going to do hang cleans 3 sets of 5. First set, we're going to do it 50% of power clean max. You get to choose whatever you want right here. It's going to be coming from your board. So we're going to do, since hang cleans is close to a power clean, we're going to do that based off 50% of their power clean max. Our second set's going to be at 65%. Our third set's going to be up at 70% of our power clean max. And then squats, since we're doing squats, then of course I want to base that off the squat max. And then you tell them we're going to do 3 sets of 8 to 10. So you could tell them how much you want their first set to be. So that way you're dictating what they're doing, not just what they feel like doing or what they did last week. You can change this up on your own by making them read those percentages. So you might say 60%, 60%, 75%, whatever you want to do. You make those up. So here's an idea list. You're welcome to use it. If you're wanting to use something like this, see how it's locked. You can only type so much on there, but if you want to be able to type anywhere on here, just come down here and click on this and duplicate. And when you click duplicate, there's a copy of it. And then you can call this pod training week 1. And then you have it. So then you can pretty much do whatever you want to. I just had one locked generically so it couldn't get messed up too bad. And you always have one that you can make a copy of and go. Now, if you make copies of these other things that have formulas in them, probably not going to work. You cannot make a copy of the master list. These ranking tabs possibly might work, but it's not worth messing it up. But this in particular, this pod training tab, make as many copies of it as you want. Okay, so there's your pod ideas if you want to use that. Again, I don't make workouts for coaches. This is just a system that keeps up with everything, rankings wise, percentages wise, player progression wise, that kind of stuff. So let's go to a print roster tab. If you need to print off a roster and write things in and come back and put them in later, because your internet's not very good in the weight room or you don't have any internet in your weight room, then here's a printable roster tab. It's at the very end, and it's going to automatically generate based on your master list where you put those kids in. So you don't have to type in it again. It's just going to automatically be here. Right? And if you put what period they're in, then it's going to show up right here what period they're in as well. And then it's going to automatically give you a list of whatever you're measuring for their lifts, and then you'll have places to write that down. Then go back to your software in your classroom or wherever it is that you're going to do it and enter those in manually if you don't have internet in your weight room or it's too hard for you to keep up with. Some coaches that are old school, they'd rather write it on paper and then, put it in later. So that's up to you. So there's your print rosters tab. Before we go into actually how to do a lift or put it in, we're going to go to a player progression tab. So let me go look at that. Just looking at my list here. Player progress. So here's your player progress tab. Here you can keep it with how a player of yours has done since 7th grade all the way through 12th grade if you want to. I only have one lift per student in here, or per player, so there's not much progress. But you would choose a player, let's say Clem, and then once it runs through there, it's finding all of his lifts that's ever been entered. Right now he only has one, and so there is his starting on 12-13. He benched 205, squatted 335, power clean 205. Okay. And what we really did is we wrote down, let me go to our manual lifts, which we're fixing to do, but we wrote down 12-13 for this week. Instead of doing it every day, we just wrote 12-13 for the whole week. And then one day we did bench max and then put that in. Next day we did squat max, put that in. Then we did power clean. So it reads all that as 12-13, but it was 3 different days. So I'm going to give you an idea on player progression real quick. So if I come down here and let's just say today is 12-20, okay, and Clem Farrell is he wants to do something new. So I'm going to do something ridiculous. Let's do 300 for bench. He went to 450 on squat. It needs to be a number, not 450. 450 on squat. And then on power clean, he has gone to 235. So now, since 12-20 is later than 12-13 up here, the master list should be finding 12-20's lift. This takes a little while. So let me come up here to Clem. See, it's still in 205, 335, and 205, but you can see it's still working. This is the part that takes a while because it's running through all the lists, and it's going to eventually find his most recent lift. Okay, so we're just going to wait this out a second. If I was at home, it'd be done already. In my classroom, it takes a little bit. So just waiting. There it goes again. Usually it runs through about 2 or 3 times because it's going through each sheet. I have several background sheets of work going on. And it's running through one sheet, then it runs through the other, and then it runs through the other. So now you can see that happened. It's updated his lifts with 300, 450, and 225. You'll notice his weight turned red at 250, and that's because his body weight I have in is at 204. Okay, so let me go back to that lift and see where. Let's go to manual entries. Yeah, I have some numbers over here I forgot to erase when I was clearing out some data, so let me clear out some data through here. I'm going to leave this 204 just to tell you what that means. Let me clear out this data. I was getting ready to do this demo. I just forgot to erase those through there, so there's nobody here for this one. So I'm glad that happened. 204. So right now I've got him some weight entered at 204, like body weight. So what that means is if you ever see this red, that means a new body weight has been entered. And so now he weighs 204. So if you want his pound for pound strength to be correct, you would change this here to 204 so that it would be the right body weight, and his pound for pound strength is actually going to increase a ton because he's dropped body weight, but he's went up on all of his maxes. So we always want that to be current. So now if we go back to the player progress to show you what that does, then now you can look and see that on 12-20, he has now benched 300. He went up 46%. He went to 450. He went up on his squat 34%. And on power clean, he's gone up to 235, which is up 14%. And on his body weight, he originally weighed 250, and now he's down to 204. He's dropped 18%. So these numbers here are strictly from lift to lift. The numbers at the top is totals from the very first lift to their very last lift they've ever done. So these numbers up here will be different sometimes than the current number down here, because this is going strictly from this lift to this lift is what happened. Okay. So anyway, there's that. I'm going to take out that last entry. I just want to show you what this looked like. And then if you want to change players, then of course you click on that and you change players. Okay. Let me go back to my manual entries tab, and I'm going to take off this lift that I just give him. So when I take that out, again, here goes the green bar again. You don't have to wait on it before you do another player. You can do as many players as you want to. It's just I wouldn't never look at your data until it's completely done updating the information. So Clem Farrell's, these bench maxes and stuff is fixing to go back down to what it was originally. We're just waiting on it to happen, and then we'll move on. We're almost done with this video. You're about to see everything that works. Now the most important part is going to be setting up our entries and our forms for these things in here to show up the way we want them to show up. So I'd like for this to go ahead and get done real quick. Again, if I was at home, this would already be done 15 seconds ago. There they are, 205, 235. And so waiting on the body weight probably to catch back up. So 250 is the body weight. And now this is probably fixing to turn red in just a second. But I'll wait on it. I'm not going to wait on it because it really don't matter. You saw it turn red a while ago. So after this green bar got through scrolling like it is, then it would be running. This is the last thing that it checks is body weight. So it would be checking that very last. So I'm going to go ahead and change it back to whatever his body weight. I have it set on 250 was his entry. So we're going to change this right here to 250. And then there it is. It turned red. So right before I was about to do it. So 250. All right, so we're through with player progression. So now let's go on to setting up your forms. Okay. Here's how you get these words: bench max, squat max, pipeline. This is how you get this in here. So when you get your system, you'll go back to your directions. You'll be shared a folder with everything in it. Let me pull up this demo folder so we can see it. So here's the different weight rooms, things I have going on. Demo folder is what I'm in. You'll have this purple link, and you'll have your software. It's just there. Okay, I have this link automatically set up to your software right here. So it says getting started. When you get ready to create your lifts, here's the form that you're going to pull up. So if you click on that and pull that up, this is our weight room list. You can title this whatever you want to. It can be, just entries, whatever you want it to be. You can name it whatever, because it's not all weight room lifts. Some things there's time, speed, and stuff like that. So you may have one that's GPA, grade point average. You may give points based on that. That'd be awesome. I never thought about that, but I might incorporate that. Incorporate GPA into something that I measure. All right, so the first thing you're going to see is I have 4 places for periods. Okay, so I already have some filled out. I was going to show you how to quickly put them in here. You can call this first period. You can rename that right here. Doesn't matter. Just never delete any of these questions. Okay, never delete them. If you don't use them, like for instance, I don't have anybody in my 4th period class because I don't have 4 periods, but I have written possible class 4, and then I could come here if I end up getting a 4th period, I can change that to 4th period and then enter some players. So don't delete them. They need to be there in case you ever need them. But let's say I want to put some kids in my 1st period class to choose from if I'm going to do this by device or by phone. If you're not going to do this by device or phone, if you're going to always do things with a manual entry tab, which we're going to do in a second, then you don't need to worry about these name things right here. You don't need to worry about it. You can go straight down to your lifts. But let's just go ahead and go down to our list. We'll do the names in a second. So here's where the lifts start. Bench max. So if we look right here, let me go to my master list. The first thing right here, it says is bench max. This is where you name those categories. If I didn't want this to be bench max, I could write this as being lift 1. When I rename the lift, let me fix this because I don't want it to be a capital I. I rename this lift 1 and click out. Once I click out, it sends that information to this sheet, and now that's changed to lift 1 here. It's changed to lift 1 here. It's changed to lift 1 here. Everywhere that it did say bench max, even on the rankings tabs, it's now going to say lift 1. So making the change on this form makes the change everywhere else. So you ain't got to go track everything down. This is the only place you got to do it. So I'm going to change lift 1 back to bench max. That's what I prefer. Down here we have these categories right now that we grade on. You could add something right here. You might change this NA, this first NA, you might change it to deadlift. So now when I come here, the first NA on my master list that wasn't NA It's now going to be changed to deadlift. There it is. So again, you got up to 10 categories that you can do. You might want to, like I said, if you want to track weight, then body weight. If you don't want to track weight, then you can take this out of your form and put /N/A. Put NA right there. Okay. You might want to track GPA right here, grade point average, and make that one of your categories that gets you higher in the list. So those smart kids that work real hard in the classroom can get credit for working real hard in the classroom. Okay, as far as your overall rankings. I'm going to put this back to body weight because we do track body weight. We like to see how much they grow from when they enter our program and when they leave, how much they grow or how much they lose. If they're really overweight and we're trying to get them down some to be more athletic and more productive, then we want to see those gains or losses that we want to happen. So we track it. So that's how you change the names. And then the last thing is to enter a player name if not on the list. So if you've got a new kid that moves in and you're doing maxes and it's time to put him in, you're using your device, you can just type his name in right there. So I'm going to show you what happens. I'll do that in a minute. Okay, I'll do it in a minute. Going back up here to setting up your roster if you're going to use a device to track. We like to use devices to track because it's much faster. I don't have to sit down and type everybody's stuff in. So let's say I need to get my first period roster in there. First thing you can do is go to your software, highlight all your kids that are in first period. You can highlight them here. You could go to your roster. Doesn't matter where you get them from. Okay. You can highlight them here or there. Let's just say I'm get all my first period kids right there. Copy them. Come in here, click on enter player names, and paste them right in. So I just put all my kids in. Let's say that my second period, this is the wrong list. You could come through here and delete every single one of them, which could take forever if you have 150 kids in there. But you could just come right here, shortcut, change this drop box to short answer. It automatically deletes everything and then change it back to drop down. And then come get your second period kids. Let's see, I got all second period. And then paste them in there. Again, you only set up these rosters if you're planning on using a phone or a device to record your lists, which you can do here in this video in just a second from your house, okay, or from wherever you're at. And I'll probably give access to this demo so that you can look at it and see it go on there and kind of see how that works. That's the planning. So I have all my kids in. Don't make any of this stuff required, because if you make it required, then if you're doing it by phone or device, you have to choose a player. And if you're working in first period, then you don't need to have to choose a second period player. So don't make it required, make it optional. Okay. Down here on your list, if you're doing, let's say, you're just entering the numbers right there, you can enter numbers. If you're doing a speed, which we'll do in a second, just make sure that we know that we don't, we just put 4.7 or 4.8. We use the decimals to the colons as far as time goes. So that's how you change your setting up your lists in your phone. That's all you do for this. You won't use it for anything else. You don't actually come in here and put numbers in. This is just for setting up your phone. Okay. Let's say now you're ready to do some entries. Okay. Let's do the manual entry first. Manual entry. So this manual entries list is right beside the master list. What we do is you can come here and do one at a time. Depends on what you want to do. You need a date. If you don't put a date, it can't find the most recent one. If all I do right here is put in, let's say, Clem Farrell, and he's going to bench, he's going to bench 250. Okay. If I do that, notice this turns red. I have it fixed to alert you that you have to put in a date. But if I put Clem Farrell 250, this master list is not going to ever find this 250 because it don't have a date. And without a date, it don't know when it was done. So it don't know. This is always looking for the most recent one. So since it don't have a date, it don't know when it was done. So when I put a date in here, let's say that these are 12/13. He come back on 12/17 and benched one more time and got it up to 250. Now that it's got a date, it's going to search for that 250, and 250 is more current than the 12 than the 250 on 12/17 is more current than the 205 on December 13th. So it's going to find it. Like I said, if I was at home, it'd already be done. Depends on your internet speed. But it's going to find it and change that to 250 in just a second when it realizes that 12. Let's go back and see what those dates were. The first time he lifted was 12/13, and now he's lifting on 12/17. So it's going to find 12/17 and realize that 250 should be the current weight. Just waiting for that to happen. I knew this video would be long, partly because of my internet being slow and having to show you how this worked. So we're just kind of waiting for that to change over. There it is, 250 right there. Okay. Next, we're going to do a form entry. Well, let's go back to this manual entry. Let's take this back out and say we didn't do that. Let's say I need to do a whole team. I need to do a whole team of people doing stuff. I can come in here if I know I'm going to do the whole team and save myself a little bit of time. I can come grab the rosters. So let me come to my roster. I can grab everybody, copy it, come to my manual entries lift, and I can paste them all in there at one time. So I can paste them all in. Don't worry about them being the different colors. It don't matter. It's not affecting anything. And then I can change. Let's say we worked out on the week of 12/13. Now it's a month later, and we're going to do lifts again. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to January, whatever day we're lifting on, and then I would copy that, highlight all these other rows, just trying to show you some shortcuts, and paste it in there so that it's the same day for all of them. I don't think I copied it. Copy, and then scroll down here and paste. I did. It's just my internet's so slow. Don't let this scare you off. Trust me, it's awesome. I do most of my work at home because of my internet speed here at school. So it's just hard for me to make a video at home, and I got kids running around everywhere. Okay, so we've entered in my second period, I believe. I had to take a break. A student walked in here, and so I had to pause it. Sorry. So we've entered in our second period, I believe. Let me look and see what we copied. We entered our third period. Okay, so entered our third period on manual lifts, entries, and so now we can come here and do some weights. So let's look at third period, Jocelyn Brianna. Okay, so if I go to third period, let's see, third period, Jocelyn Brianna, where's she at? No, I did enter in second period. I didn't enter second through third period. So there's Jocelyn Brianna. Right now, she currently has 195, 305, and 165. So I'm writing this down real quickly: 195, 305, 165. So if we go to her entries and we change her from 195 and we do, let's do 205. And then we didn't squat max, but let's just say that we did do 165 was her power clean, so let's bump that up to 190. We did just those two things, then we should be able to go back to our master lift and watch Jocelyn's 195 and 165 here. These two things will jump up in just a second to our new entries. Yeah, let me find those. Let me run through that and see. Just waiting it out. Again, if I had the internet that was faster, this would already be done. Even if you have slow internet while we're waiting, it's still faster than doing all this manually and doing this by hand and doing all and trying to keep up with all this paper. Waiting 4 or 5 minutes after you put everything in for everything to be updated. To me, is not a big deal at all. Okay, looking down here, her bench press just updated 205, and her power clean updated to 195. The 305 didn't change because we did not update that. Okay, so that's how you can do manual lifts. Okay, if you don't put anything in, then nothing updates. It just stays the way it was. So if we go to player progress right here, and we look up Jocelyn, you can start typing that in if you want to, or you can go select it. So, oh, it's Jocelyn Brianna, I believe. If we go pick hers out, it's going to say she started at 195, 305, and 165. She's increased to 205 and increased to 190. Okay. So that's if you want to do everything manually. Now, if you trust your players to put in their own scores, if you've got 2 or 3 coaches in the weight room putting in scores, then this is the route that I would go, that we like to go, is by the form entry. So you can pause right now and take your phone out and scan this QR code. I'll leave it live so you can see how to put in an entry, and then I'll probably give access to this. I'll give access to this demo sheet for people to look at when they do entries. You'll be able to see those things going there as well. But if you scan this, then a form's going to pull up. I cannot show a video of my phone because I'm screen recording my computer. So I'm going to pull up this link. This is where that QR code will send your phone to this link, which you then can put that link on your phone as an app, either an Android or Apple, by choosing the add to home screen button. It'll put it on there. But anyway, this is what you would see when it pulls up on your phone. So let's say I'm going to go do first period. I'm going to change, I still have old names in there. Let's see if I can refresh this. I actually have the wrong form pulled up. Let me go to I didn't change the form. I hate to redo this whole video because I didn't do that. I'm not going to redo this whole video. Let me change the link real quick. Here's where you get the link to the form that we're working on. We'll copy that link. I forgot to put it in here. This went to an old form, so let me put that in here. Put the new link in here. And then now I'll go to that form. This is the one that goes to my demo. So now under first period, here's these people that I have, okay? So, and they're in the same order that I typed them in. So I'm going to put Aaron Flanagan, okay? So I'm doing Aaron Flanagan. He would choose his own name if you're letting the players do it. Your coaches would choose their name in first period if that's where they're at. And then just come down here and put their lift. So I'm going to put 800 pounds. Just want to make sure it just stands out, 1,000 and 400. And then we'll go ahead and give him a speed of, let's say he runs a 4.3. This person's just a crazy athlete. And that's all I'm going to put in. That's all I'm going to put in there. Okay, I'm going to put their GPA is a 3.7, just showing that you can put in whatever you want to. And he weighs 225 pounds. And let me make sure we see who we're doing real quick. We're doing Aaron Flanagan. Okay, so then you would just mash submit. Again, you do not have to put responses for every single one. You can put just one. Whatever, if you're doing just bench press, then enter just bench press. On your phone, when you submit it, it's going to come back to this page. All you do is just click submit another response if you need to put in another player. So I could come down here and do Bobby Andrew, and he's only doing his bench press today at 290 pounds. And then I'd just go straight to the bottom and submit. And then you would just X out of your phone. That link right there at the bottom link is just for putting in entries on your phone, and you're done. Where those entries go is over here where it says form entries. They're going to automatically show up right here. Okay, first period, and then the players and what they do. I've tagged all the other ones back here at the back. So second period, third period, possible class 4. Those other things be back here at the back. Okay, so they're put in here, and now the software is running through that. Let's go find Aaron Flanagan on our master list. And Aaron Flanagan, I don't know what class. There he is. Okay. Now his stuff has been updated. He's 800, 1,400. He runs a 4.3. His GPA was 3.7. And since it's red, I need to change his body weight now to 225. He's really put on some muscle in a short period of time. Okay. You'll also notice on this form entries where that information always goes to. If you do it by phone, it's going to always go here. It automatically timestamps it when you do it, so you don't have to worry about putting a date on this part. And that's it. As far as doing a format, you can do as many as you want. Unless there's some kind of limit on Google Sheets I don't know about, you can do as many as you want to, or keep adding rows. All right. If for some reason you need to edit one of these, you could edit it here. You could just re-put it in. If you said, "Hey, I put in the wrong bench press," but if you want for player progression to be right, you would come here and just change this bench press to say he didn't do 800, he did 750. You can change it there, and when you change it there, it's going to change it everywhere else. If you decide you were just practicing and want to take these out, you can highlight the row that you're practicing on, and then you can take this out. So delete that row, and also delete this row if you're just practicing. Take them out. Don't delete the black row. Don't delete the names up here on the top, just the players that went in there. And so now if I go back to Aaron Flanagan or whatever his name was, let's see here, Aaron Flanagan, all that stuff's being deleted out, so it's going to go back to his original stuff in just a second. And then we will be done with how to do an entry from a phone or device. Again, if you trust your players, you can put, while this is running through there, if you trust your players, you can post this QR code in your weight room and they can scan it and put it in their own lifts and entries to keep track. So that's a real quick, not quick, it's a real long overview of what this system can do. It can do more probably. Probably forgot to write something down, but as you play with it, you'll kind of see what you can and can't do and all the stuff and all of its possibilities. I was just kind of waiting for Aaron Flanagan to update to this most recent before I got off here, and I'm still waiting on it. Again, if you do 50 or you do 1, it's going to take, depending on your internet, how long it takes to calculate these changes. And if you put your thing out there, it's just calculating through the formulas. There's many sheets, thousands of formulas it's going through. But the good thing about a computer, it runs through them correctly every time. If you do it by hand, you can get lost where you're at and forget to do something. So waiting is not a big deal. And then you can see right now that Aaron Flanagan's stuff went back to what it was originally, and his weight's back to whatever it originally was. So I deleted that last entry, so I needed to make him 135. 35. Good. If you have any questions, email me at coachingtimesavers@gmail.com. Be glad to hear from you. I'm going to post the link to this demo so that you can actually open it up and look at it. It'll be a view-only copy. I'm going to post a link to this video on my website, and so that you can make a couple of those entries, scan that QR code, make a couple of entries, and just kind of see where they go. The last thing I did want to show you is if you have a player, let's just say that we've scanned the QR code in the weight room, and I'll have to click on the link since I can't scan it on my phone and show you since I'm screen recording. Let's say we come in here and the player, I got a new player in first period. He's not on here yet. I forgot to add him, so I'll just come down here and do his bench press max. Let's just do, let's just say 500 pounds. And it's a new player. So down here at the bottom, we're going to put in his name. So I'm going to put in Curtis Alexander. I'll put in myself and submit. All right, so what that happens is you just have to make a mental note when you go back. When I go to form entries, where that information is being sent to, 500 pounds, and right here, not on this Curtis Alexander. So he's not going to automatically go into your master list. Okay, so I'll need to put him in here. So if I come to the bottom of the row, I can come in here and say, you know, we got a new player, first period. He is a junior. He weighs 207 pounds. And right now, I put in Curtis Alexander. And so when I hit enter and I put in my new player, now the system is going to start searching through all those forms again if he's ever had an entry put in. And so he's going to be put in right there. It's going to run through. We'll wait just a few seconds, or in this case, here at school, about 30 seconds. And it's going to find my name in that new entry and put him to the list. Again, the video is very long. I know that, but we're just running through all the things that you can do. And I just now thought about something else that you might want to do. So we're going to talk about that too as soon as this gets updated. Hopefully it's about done. Let's see here. Run through again. Just running through thousands and thousands of formulas. Usually the screen bar when you make entries will run through four. It's checking one sheet and then it's checking another sheet. It's just running through those progress checks to see if there's any new data in. And one sheet sends information to another sheet, so it's just a long list that it's going through. And there it found the 500 pounds, so we are good. Now let's say I need to add him to my list so that he'll be on there next time. I copy my name, go to your directions, open up your form tab, and then go put him in first period. Since these are in all alphabetical order, Curtis would go about right here after this guy. So we'll click on his name, mash enter, paste his name in there, and then I'm done. I click out of there, I'm done. Now he's on the list. So if I come back to this weight room lift and I click submit another response, there he is for the next time. So you just got to put him in on the list. Also on here on your master list, if you want to get your names back in alphabetical order, then come up here to the top. You're going to click an ABC order, and then come back over here and click by period. And now it's going to put Curtis Alexander right there in first period. You'll notice this right here is not 500 pounds, but it's fixing to be. It's going to run through here, and it's going to reorganize those back to where it went. It's still not done because it's not right yet. Again, it's running through sheets, and although it's time, it's not, as far as 3 or 4 minutes is really not that long. If it takes that long, but most of the time with a decent internet, it's within 20, 30 seconds. And there's the 500 for my name. Okay. So anyway, that's the whole system. Again, if you got questions, email me at coachingtimesavers@gmail.com. And be sure to check out this demo link I'm going to put on there for you to be able to look around. You won't be able to click on anything because I don't want people that's not purchasing something to mess up something. But you can make some entries and just look in there and see some of these guys change. And I'll reset it from time to time back to what it was. Thank you.